record, court is calling 2023 CR 3065, State of Texas versus Christopher Dunning. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Vince?
Ricardo Briones for Mr. Christopher Dunning.
And are you Christopher Dunning?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
We're here for sentencing. You entered a plea of no contest and applied for deferred adjudication on May 13th. According to your plea bargain agreement, the state proceeded on the lesser included offense of assault bodily injury family as a Class A misdemeanor, and the state recommended deferred adjudication. All right, and we're here. Thank you. We're here for sentencing. Any witnesses, defense?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe Lori Dunning is in the courthouse, in the courtroom. I would like to call her as a witness.
All right, Miss Dunning, if you'll come forward.
Hello. Good afternoon,
Good
Your Honor.
afternoon. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
It's Lori Lynn Dunning.
All right. Defense, it's your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lori, can you spell your first name for the court reporter?
Yes, it's Lori,
And you go by Lori Lynn. It's your middle name.
and is my middle name, Lynn.
And Ms. Dunning, what is your relation to Chris Dunning?
He's my husband.
And were you the complainant in this case?
Yes,
Okay. And as you know, the court agreed to give him deferred adjudication probation.
yes,
Are you in agreement that he can have contact with you?
yes, I am.
Okay. Right now, generally, these things are given a no contact order. Are you asking the court today to modify that to a no harmful or injurious contact order?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you all been married?
We've been together since 2000, right after 9/11, 2001, but we've gotten married in 2004.
And as far as you know, you haven't filed for divorce. You want to continue being in a relationship with him, correct?
Correct. That's right.
And you would like him to be able to do his community supervision at y'all's residence, correct?
That's correct.
Great. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. So do you all have any children in the household?
No, we have no children.
All right. So you said y'all were married, but when did you first meet him?
It was right after 9/11, so 2001.
And so this physical abuse that happened, is that the first time?
Yes.
All right. So what caused it?
I believe our marriage was not in the best shape. Both of us, I think, had become complacent and just weren't taking care of each other ourselves. And I think he was dealing with some mental health issues. We're both nurses, so I could identify what I thought was maybe some bipolar issues that, based on my inattention maybe to the marriage, I think it threw him into some paranoia and behaviors that he's never exhibited before.
All right. I understand that you're saying that there were things that were happening in the marriage or things that you were going through.
Mhm.
I don't understand how it escalated though to what I read in the police report.
It was just a various accumulation, I think, of, I think I disconnected and withdrew a lot. And that took him into a state of, he felt I was leaving and like taking everything, and I think he lost control. So he was seeing his life fall apart right there.
So, because it became very violent from what I'm reading. And so I understand that maybe things are happening in the marriage, and I can't force people to do counseling, because for counseling, you need two people. And part of the conditions that I set is supposed to be conditions to protect all parties involved. And I know you're an adult, he's an adult, but sometimes as an adult, we have to be protected from ourselves. And what I can tell you is what I will do is he needs some treatment under his belt before I allow him to have contact with you. And when I say treatment under his belt, I mean he needs to do some violence courses. I know the agreement that you made with the family violence prosecutors were to reduce this, but it's saying that he choked you. And choking somebody where they're having problems breathing, that's very up close and personal. And it's not something, from what I'm reading in the police report, it's not something where you're doing something from a distance. That's sort of like up close and personal. And then you have to hold it for a while for somebody not to be able to breathe. So I'm not trying to destroy your marriage. Sometimes people have to go through their marriage and go for it as long as they want to. But I need to just make sure that he has some classes or something where he can internalize what his role in this was, right? I know you're saying that you had a role to play in this as well, but I'm only here for the fact that he choked you in anger. And so I need to make sure that he receives the counseling that he needs, because otherwise this relationship is not going to work anyway. Because whatever issues you all had before he got to this point, those issues still exist. It's just that you all have not been discussing them because he's in custody at the Bexar County Jail. So what I find in cases like this, individuals need to work on themselves. While I'm forcing him to work on himself, you need to work on yourself as an individual. Then once everybody, you and he both, are able to look at your relationship objectively and see if this is a relationship that truly should continue or not, you'll be in a better position to make that determination. So for now, I'm not going to allow any contact. He can come back in 3 months. By then, he should have done some classes, because I'm going to order the batterers intervention prevention classes for him. And he's shaking his head over there, upset now. So that tells me he needs to be in some classes, because he's not internalizing and he doesn't understand the reason why we're here is because he choked you. And the reason why this is reduced to a Class A misdemeanor, I'm sure it's because maybe you didn't want to come in and testify. And the state is still trying maybe to protect you by having some form of probation for him. So that's where we are. I'm not going to allow contact. That's where we are.
May I say?
Sure.
Okay, so the incident I know was over a year ago. Chris, for his reasons, had a bond out and didn't turn himself in. So we have been living together for the last year with no incidences or fear that I fear from him. And I think that says a lot. I do agree on the counseling for both of us and him.
I mean, here's the thing. It's 3 months for him to start classes. Neither of us are teenagers here. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's 3 months. It's the end of the world. It's 3 months. As we can tell, time goes by quickly. Heck, it's almost Christmas. And that's come around very quick. We're almost about to be into 2025. And what I can tell you, what I have discovered, sometimes people are on their best behavior when they have cases pending. And you know why they're on their best behavior when they have cases pending? Because they don't want to go back to jail. And sometimes, and we can go off the record, sometimes I've been a defense attorney and I've represented people who've been charged, both males and females, with being violent with their partner. And you know what I would always tell them? You had better be the nicest person you can be. You had better get your life in order. Here's some counseling. Would they take that advice? Sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. My only job was to represent them and get them a favorable outcome. And you know what ended up happening? 9 times out of 10, maybe 2 years later, I get a phone call. They're charged with another assault case against the same person or either against someone else. And you know why that's the case? Because when you have charges that are pending, whatever the issue was that made them be violent, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just sitting in the closet waiting for itself to come out. All right. All right. But thank you so much for coming in. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We can go back on the record. This is what the court is going to order. The court is going to place you on 2 years deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. I'm gonna order the BIPP course. There's to be no contact with Lori, Lori, Dunning until further notice, and probation. Once he has completed, been in the BIP course for at least 3 months, you can always come back and the court will reconsider. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs, proof of employment within 30 days.
I'm disabled.
Pardon?
I'm disabled.
All right, just a second. Proof of employment within 30 days or proof of SSI. What's your disability?
Head injury.
All right, proof of SSI within 30 days. If not, there's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. And just a second. I'm gonna want field visits 1 time per month. It's to be random. And so for the first 3 months, 1 time per month. And then thereafter to be random, but no less than 1 visit every 3 months. There is to be 80 hours of community service restitution. He can either do the 80 hours of community service restitution, or I'll allow him to pay $7.25 per hour to a charity of his choice. It can either be, and we'll do a referral to Center for Healthcare Services, or if he has his own personal doctor, he can go to his personal doctor. Probation, is there anything else that's needed? All right, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? Sir, is there anything else you need from the court?
Well, I have to go back to jail.
No, you'll be released. You just cannot live with your wife.
Okay.
All right. I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question.
Yes.
Where do I go? I don't have any family or anywhere to go.
You can go to Haven for Hope. You can go to Lifetime Recovery.
Is that across the street? Do you have directions?
Oh, they, probation will let you know where that's located at.
And will they provide me with counseling?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Good luck to you. Did you understand you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? That's a 2nd-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
And if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison. Did you understand?
Yes.
Plea bargain agreement. State is proceeding on count 1. State will remain silent on your application for deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Miranda. Second, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense is at the plea?
It is the plea.
State is at the plea. Remain silent on your application for deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Miranda Medellin, no contact with Renee Vasquez II. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense is at the plea?
It is the plea.
State is at the plea.
Yes, sir.
With an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, Your
We need.
And outside the
Sorry, Your
agreement,
Honor, I need to just put
Yes.
down, that issue of family violence needed to be addressed.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to orally strike, and we can do it on paper as well, the affirmative finding, Your Honor.
all right, so here's the thing with the affirmative finding of family violence. I need to put you on notice what that means. Now, I will read through the police reports, and if it's a family violence matter, then I'm going to find there's an affirmative finding of family violence. But if it's not, then I won't make that finding. Does everyone understand?
Understood.
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. So outside the agreement, in the event that I do not grant your application for deferred adjudication, the state is going to recommend that your punishment be set, capped at 4 years in the prison. Did you understand that would just be a recommendation from the state and the court would not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor.
So do you understand that if the court does not grant your application for deferred adjudication, the court could sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to count one, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
And Judge, that's not how I'm sorry, this plea has gotten so cumbersome. The cap, there was supposed to be a cap of 4 years, so you could sentence her from 2 to 4 years.
No. Y'all are not allowed to tell the court if she's applying for deferred adjudication, how much I can sentence her to if I don't follow your agreement. I mean, I'll take it in consideration if I were not to, I'm sorry, not agreement. Your plea bargain is that the state is to remain silent on your application for deferred. So what that means is the state is not going to tell me that they don't want you to have deferred. They're not going to tell me that they do want you to have deferred. Hypothetically, if I were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, the state can make a recommendation and say, Judge, we want her in deferred adjudication for 6 years. I could say, well, no, I'm only giving her 4. I still will have followed your plea bargain agreement. Or, oh, well, I'm giving her 8 years deferred adjudication. I will still have followed your plea agreement. The suggestion that your sentence be a cap of 4, that's not a part of your plea agreement. The part of the outside the agreement is if I do not grant your application for deferred adjudication, then the state will ask that you be sentenced to no more than 4 years. But I don't have to sentence you to 4 years. I could sentence you to more than 4 years. Am I going to do that? I don't know. Am I going to grant your application for deferred adjudication? I don't know, because I'm going to need a PSI report. So that's the agreement. And if people don't understand that as agreement and want to withdraw, you're more than welcome to withdraw. But as far as the state's recommendation of a cap of 4 years, if you don't receive deferred adjudication, that's just something for me to consider, but I don't necessarily have to follow that.
Understood. We'll still go forward.
All right. So does everyone understand that if the court were not to grant the application for deferred adjudication, that I could potentially sentence you up to 20 years in prison? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that the fact that the state would perhaps recommend or will recommend a cap of 4 if I don't grant your application for deferred adjudication, that's just something for the court consider. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if I were not to grant your application for deferred adjudication and the state were to recommend that you be sentenced to 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, and I decided to sentence you to 10 years, that will not have violated your plea bargain agreement. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Probation, I'm going to request a PSI and TAP evaluation. Counsel, is there a need for a mental health evaluation or no?
No.
All right. It's going to happen on August 1st. You're going to come back. I'm going to make my decision on your application based upon the PSI report, the TAP evaluation, and any other evidence that's presented to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Once you sign the reset form, be sure to speak with probation. They'll give you information on what needs to be done. And we'll be back on August 1st at 9.
Thank you for the help, Judge.
Thank
Oh,
you, Your
sure.
Honor.
No problem.
Next question.
Here you are. The plea bargain agreement. The state is going to be silent on your application for deferred adjudication. So that means they are not going to tell the court that they want you to have deferred, and they're not going to tell me that they don't want you to have deferred. They're saying that if I don't grant your application for deferred adjudication, the most time I can sentence you to is 4 years. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. What I just explained to you, do you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any objections to the state and your attorney adding that as a part of the plea bargain agreement?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State,
Yes, Your Honor.
defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report? State,
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
defense.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any witnesses? State,
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
defense.
Just my client.
All right. You may inquire.
Please state your full name for the record.
Patricia Nicole Munoz.
And Mr. Munoz, have you ever been convicted of any other felony?
No,
And did you recently obtain your children in civil court?
yes,
How many children do you have?
5,
And are you taking care of them yourself?
yes,
Do you have help from your mother and grandmother?
yes. I do.
Mother-in-law.
Yes, I do have a very good support system.
Have you done things in civil court to help you with respect to taking care of your children
Yes, I have.
and helping yourself?
Yes, I have.
Did you complete the family violence prevention services?
Yes,
And you did this on your own, right?
yes,
And are you in elite counseling at this time?
yes, I am.
And have you done this on your own also?
Yes,
And that was also suggested by the civil courts that you do that?
yes, sir.
Okay, you don't have a family violence case though, do you?
No, sir.
With respect to drug use, when was the last time you used any drugs?
In 2018.
And so you've been clean since then.
Yes, sir.
And who do you work for now?
For Santana Primary Healthcare
And how long have you been working with them?
for more than 10 years.
So that's the only job you've ever had?
Yes, sir.
And you still have that job to this day?
Yes, sir.
How has your life changed without your the father of the kid that was Child Protective Services was involved in, with him being out of the picture and you taking care of the children yourself?
Taking accountability for my actions, bettering myself for my children as well as myself. Just having a good support system, and pretty much just trying to better my life for me and my children.
So with respect to this case in itself, there was an issue with one of the boyfriends, one of the girlfriends of the person you were dating at that time?
No, it's actually his niece.
I'm sorry, you need to speak up.
It was my daughter's father's niece.
And she was saying bad things about you.
Yes.
And that was because you were having the child custody issues?
Yes.
And you regret what happened in this case?
Yes, I do.
And if the judge were to give you deferred adjudication, will you follow all the rules and regulations, everything that she asks of you?
Yes.
Past witness.
Any questions?
Silent.
No questions, Your Honor.
How many children do you have?
I have 5.
What are their ages?
9, 7, 5, 4, and 1.
All right, and who's helping you take care of these children?
I am. I have my mother and I have my mother-in-law as well that are helping me.
And is the CPS case still open?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right. And do you have documentation that she's doing well in CPS?
Judge, I know that she was awarded custody of the children and they're trying to terminate the father's, one of the fathers who was involved in the CPS matter because he was not getting involved in that. I don't have the documentation with me at this time.
All right. So who's your CPS worker?
Angie Steinau?
All right. If you all want to call the CPS worker, see if the CPS worker wants to zoom in so that I can ask some questions. All right. So if you all step
Will
back, I'm
that
sure she
also-
has the CPS
Will that
worker's
also-
number. The caseworker involving her family case.
Yes, I am.
All right. Are you her caseworker or the children's caseworker or the family's caseworker?
The family's caseworker with Family Drug Court.
All right. Can you tell me what is her status in drug court? How is she doing?
Ms. Munoz is almost completed the Family Drug Court program. She has successfully been engaging in individual counseling, family and group counseling with her domestic violence and her substance abuse. treatment. She has been randomly drug tested throughout the duration of the case, including hair follicles, which she has tested negative. She also has been reunified with her children since May the 3rd, and the department has done very frequent visits, almost weekly and bi-monthly for the last couple of months. And she's been compliant, doing really well.
When is she due to expire from or graduate from your drug court program?
I believe it's the end of this month. She is in the stage 5 of family drug court, which is the last stage.
And do y'all provide aftercare after graduation or no?
Yes, we do. And she also has a sponsor and a relapse plan.
And how long is your aftercare after she graduates?
It's at least 6 months, and she will continue to do NA meetings.
And in your aftercare program, how often are you all still supervising, viewing the children to see that everything is going well?
We don't particularly observe the children, as CPS will be closing out their case as well. So that will be Miss Munoz going to the continued aftercare program on her own.
All right. So then in your aftercare program, how do you specifically supervise Miss Munoz?
She will continue to report to her, one of the counselors at Elite Counseling.
And how often does she report to Elite Counseling in the aftercare program?
Twice a month.
All right. And if there are any issues with her reporting in Elite Counseling, are you all made aware of that?
Yes, we are.
All right. Any other questions?
Nothing from the state.
No, Your Honor.
All right. A final question for me then. Do you think she would be a danger? I'm assuming you all don't think she would be a danger to her children. Otherwise, you would not be closing out the case. But do you have any concerns about her interaction with the children, or any concerns for her children if she were allowed to be placed on probation in this court?
No, I don't.
All right. Do you think there are any conditions that this court should set to make sure she stays on the right path?
No.
All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you. Thank you for zooming in.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. All right. Court's going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. I always ask for parenting classes, but if you completed parenting classes, you'll just need to provide the parenting classes that you've completed through family drug court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There's going to be proof of employment within 40 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors.
Judge, may I interject on that? Is what she has been doing for the last 10.
Doing what?
Healthcare provider.
And her whole life she's been doing it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't allow people to be healthcare providers when they're on probation in this court. If you want to be a healthcare provider, then there needs to be notice given to whoever you're employed with saying, I know this is what she's charged with. I know she's on probation for this amount of time, and the person that you're providing the healthcare for also needs to be made aware of that. And I need that in writing saying that they have no problem. Otherwise, you're not allowed to do it.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
let me just tell you, I'm not treating you any differently than anyone else. The reason why I do that is because sometimes these home healthcare providers, they would just hire people. They go into people's homes. Nobody knows that this person is on probation, has a theft, has an abusive history, and they're leaving them with somebody vulnerable. So I'm not going to allow her to be a home healthcare provider probation unless she provides a letter from her employer, and that employer states, and it's notarized, that they're aware that she's on probation for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and they're aware of her criminal history. And whomever she is providing the health care to, the individual, they need to provide a notarized letter saying, we know that she's on probation for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Here's her history, and it needs to be notarized, and they have no objections. Otherwise, she will not be able to do that.
Understood.
There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs. You can do the UA or the patch. Probation will explain to you the patch costs more. There's to be no contact with Miranda Medellin. And for the record, the court did not receive any documentation in the PSI from Miranda Medellin. And there's also to be no contact with Renee Vasquez the second. There's to be 120 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. If you provide proof that you completed parenting classes through family drug court, that will be deemed satisfied, and the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Field visits, one time per month for 4 months. And that one time per month is to begin November of 2024. I'm trying to time it a little bit, probation, with when CPS ends their contact with her. There is to be drug treatment, or I should say continued drug treatment with elite counseling. And you to report 2 times per month with them. Probation, is there anything else she needs?
No, Judge.
Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to
Judge.
own.
There is no family violence in this case.
No, there is. No, there is.
She's not related to any of those people. And
There is.
we discussed that. We discussed that last time, also. Prior.
Yeah. This is the niece. These are all family members. And she said it's the niece of the father of her child. Did she not say that?
Yes.
These are family members. So there is an affirmative finding of family violence. And because there's an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And with regards to the affirmative finding of family violence, it's in the family code. I follow it. If for some reason people believe my interpretation of the family code is incorrect, we can always revisit that. But for now, my interpretation of the family code is this is an affirmative finding of family violence. And my hands are tied. I can't say I'm not going to have an affirmative finding of family violence. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're off the record. Make sure you stay in contact with your probation officer. If there is an issue, let the court know and we'll take it up. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.